Welcome back to Radio Caroline. Josh Holmes-Bright here with you, and I'm very pleased to say that I'm joined by one of the coolest rock stars ever. She rose to fame in the 70s. She's had a number of hits. She's been on your screens, on the stage, and she's recently become an author as well with a new book out at the moment. We'll talk about all of that. I'm joined by Suzi Quatro. Suzi, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm very well, thank you. It's a
Good.
pleasure to have you here, as I say.
Nice to
And
be
you've
here.
you've got lots going on at the moment. You've got that new book, as I say. You're going on tour again very, very soon. You celebrated, I think it was 60 years last year. You were celebrating 60 years, was it, on your most recent tour?
I know it's 61 years now. And the next tour, I'll get it out of the way now. The dates came out yesterday. Tickets are available now. April of next year, 10 shows. And it will be my 62nd year in the business.
Oh, 62 years.
Oh
That's
my
quite a
God.
stint. You
I
must love
love
it.
it. I do
We
love it.
we will talk about that new tour and the new book, of course, but we're actually going to start right at the very beginning because
Okay.
you were, of course, born in Detroit, which has got so much musical heritage. You were raised in a very musical family as well. Would you say you were perhaps destined to be a musician?
I think so. I mean, mind you, I was destined to be in the arts. That's for sure. I could have gone into acting or I even liked comedy, but music really called. And all of us five kids, we all play minimum three instruments each. And my
Wow.
dad was a musician all his life. So we had family shows, so really it's in my blood.
These family shows, what kind of music were you playing?
Well, we would all get up and do a party piece. Every get together, somebody would play the piano, I would tell a joke, I would do a dance, I would play my bongos. Um, and I noticed at a very young age, about 7 or 8, that whenever I got up to do my bit, and it was all the five kids and my parents, the whole room would stop. So I realized that I had something that held an audience as a young child. That's something to real. I couldn't have articulated it like that. I just knew the room stopped. So then I honed that ability as I was going through my years. And at 14, we started the first band, all girl band. I told my dad, he was a musician. He said, "Great." And I said, "I'm playing bass." He said, "Great. Do you have one?" He said, "Yep." And he gave me a 1957 Fender Precision for my
Wow,
first bass.
what
I
a
know.
result.
It's like giving a Rolls Royce to a first time driver.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Did you know from when you started that first band at 14 that it's what you wanted to do?
I knew it from 5 and a half because I saw Elvis on TV for the family get together for the Ed Sullivan Show, 8 o'clock Sunday. Family stops. You sit down, you watch the variety show. And I'm 5 and a half. And at the end of the show, he would bring on something for the youngsters. And out comes Elvis. He's doing Don't Be Cruel. My eldest sister by 9 years started to scream. And I'm thinking, what are you screaming at? What are you screaming for? And I looked at the TV and I went into it like I was almost hypnotized. And then in my little brain, my little 5 and a half year old brain, I thought, I'm going to do that.
And you knew from then, you knew from
I
seeing
did.
Elvis on the Ed
I did.
Sullivan Show.
And then at 14, when we did our first gig, we knew three songs we would put out at the local dance hall. And I remember looking down at the audience with my bass on. And again, through my head came the phrase, I'm home.
Wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful. So, how did you turn that into your career? How did you start making money from being a musician? When was that big break?
Well, I started making money right away. We went on the road, and my dad let me leave school early. I don't have a high school diploma. And my God, we worked more than the guy bands because we were all girls. So we were unique, and all the clubs wanted us to bring the customers in. So I was on the road from the age of 14.
That's incredible. And you left school at
Incredible.
14 to make a career.
Well, I left at 15. We've
Sure.
been on the road, yeah. And then at 15, I was in New York and I called my dad from the hotel room and I said, "Dad, I don't want to finish school. I'm going to do this for the rest of my life." And he was very clever. He said, "Is there anything I can say to change your mind?" He didn't get mad. And I said, "No." And he went and he put the phone down. Not mad, but quietly put it back on the cradle. I went, "Oh my God." And that made me stop and sit in that room on that bed and think for a minute because I knew I was making a life decision. But I made the
Absolutely.
right I made the right decision. There was no question about it.
By far, yeah, definitely. And then a couple of years later, then you came over here to the UK to try and make it big over here, and
Well, I
had a
got
fair amount
offered
of success.
I got offered, well, I've sold 60 million records now. I was in the band in Detroit. Mickey Most, very famous producer from here, he's up there now.
Hmm.
He came to Detroit to see to record at Motown with Jeff Beck and Cozy Powell. And he saw the band. My brother got him in to see the band, and he offered me a solo contract. So I took that decision. I went across the ocean over here. That was 1971, and I formed a band and everything. And then by 1973, I had my first number one.
And that was Can the Can, and that went straight to number one here in the
It
UK and
did.
across the
It did.
world. Was
Yep,
that?
it did.
I mean, obviously, you knew it was a good record. You knew it was good enough to put out. Did you know it would go to number one? Did you expect to have that success right away?
Um, it was a hair on the back of the neck kind of moment. So I did think it was going to be huge. Mickey actually said this is going to be number one. He actually said it to me. This is going to be a number one. And it was. What a feeling, though. So I had 9 years apprenticeship on the road, plus all the years in the family stuff. And I was ready. I was ready for it. I was ready, more than ready.
Can the Can was the first of many hits to come. I mean, we could sit here listing them all off. Devilgate Drive, 48 Crash, the first that come to mind. Some brilliant, brilliant tracks. But over the course of the 70s, from 73 through till 1980, you spent over 100 weeks in the charts, which is an incredible number, not something that many can claim fame to. Did you settle into this success quite easily? Did you find it comfortable being in the limelight?
Well, yeah, you go through your 24-hour ego trip when you hit number one the first time, and you must go through it.
Sure.
You could just go through it. I had people on the phone, flashbulbs going off, record company sending me a case of champagne, and you think you're wonderful for 24 hours. And then I remember waking up the next day and looking in the mirror and just going, "You idiot." So I'm very normal. Then the next thing was watching ourselves on top of the pubs, going to the local pub after the show was over and getting mobbed. What?
Wow.
So yeah, and that's a moment where you realize your life has changed. And then I made a decision that I could be one of these hiding famous people or not hide. And I don't hide. I go everywhere. I get recognized everywhere I go, but I do not let it stop me from just being me. I don't want to be one of those untouchables. No, 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 no. I'm very accessible. If people
So,
say, "I use Suzi Quatro," yes, I am. Hi, hi, done. Done. It's done.
yeah.
No big deal.
And you like that? You don't mind people coming up? I know a lot of stars maybe don't like the photos or the autographs. It's one or the other or none at all. Do you mind any of that?
I don't mind that at all. The only thing that it gets difficult is if you're and so I try not to go and sit in the audience. I don't sit in the audience at concerts because once somebody sees you, they want a selfie and then it starts a whole thing going and you're actually taking away attention from the stage and that's not right to do. But my husband took us to see Cyndi Lauper. This is about 3 or 4 years ago. And I said, okay, well, I'll get some backstage things, because, I can get whatever I want. I know everybody. And he said, no, no, I've got good seats and we're going to sit in the audience. I went, oh, no. So I put on a baseball cap and my hair in a ponytail.
Nice.
Watching the show, nobody's bothering me. I thought to myself, oh, I'm getting away with this. Went to the toilet, standing in line for the ladies. And the lady in front of me, she turned back to me and she went, I love your music. I went,
She saw through the
I,
disguise.
I said, so this and this not working? She went, not in the slightest. I went, fine. I can only figure out that people saw it was me, but they saw that I was trying not to be noticed and they respected that.
Yeah, I think that's fair,
Yeah,
and that's nice
yeah,
to have that level of
yeah,
respect from both
sure.
sides.
Sure.
Is
That's her. She obviously doesn't want us to bother her. So that's nice. Yeah. But it's so
wonderful.
funny. It's not working. No.
She saw straight through it.
Oh,
Fantastic.
totally. Totally.
And in those initial days of finding that success and being mobbed, as you say, just from going to the shops, you were also out on the road quite a bit, as you know you've got to do to promote the records, and you were supporting a number of big names, or you were certainly on the road with a number of big names. Thin Lizzy, Sweet, who you still work with some of the guys to this day, Alice Cooper as well. That must have been a bit of a pinch me moment working with some of these huge names of the 70s when you were quite young.
Um, I tend to think of the people that I played with when I'm having hits myself as colleagues, you know? Not like, oh, because you're all in the same boat. You're all in the same place. Alice, I've known since I've been 14, and he just did a duet with me on my new album, by the way. Oh,
Brilliant.
shouldn't have said that yet, but I
New
did.
album. I think we've got an
It's
exclusive there. It's the first
you're
I've heard
do
of that.
so yeah, we're recording it now. We were all 60s coming up through the 60s, and then we were all having our hits in the 70s. I think I would have been more like if it'd been like Elvis Presley or Otis Redding or somebody that I grew up with, but not people in the same area. We're all colleagues.
I
We
see.
work together. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. We will come back to that new album in a short while, I'm sure. I'll see what I can get out of you. But because of these, I mean, you mentioned earlier, I hope you don't mind me saying it again, 62 years by the time you're out on tour next. Throughout those early days, you kind of cemented yourself as an icon. 62 years later, you're a legend. I mean, that's just the right way of saying it. And whether you accept that or deny it, it's true. You're a legend
Thank
and
you.
a pioneer for women in rock and roll as well. Would you say it like that? Would you say you're a pioneer for the women we've got in rock music today?
Well, Mike Chapman said on my documentary, Suzi Q, that came out in 2019, was at the top of the Amazon charts for ages. He said, he said this, every woman who came after me owes something to me. Now, I didn't realize, I'll be honest, I didn't know what I was doing was unusual because of my upbringing. And it wasn't until I saw my documentary at the Regent Theatre in London, the premiere, and I watched it, and on came at different points Debbie Harry, Chrissy Hine, Joan Jett, Cherie Curry, Lita Ford, Donita Sparks, Tina Weymouth. They all came on and they all said basically the same thing. Not exactly the same, but I'm paraphrasing. They said, we would not have done what we did had Suzi Quatro not have done it first. And I started to cry because I think that was honestly, I was 69, the first time I realized what I'd done. I didn't get it. And I called my friend the next day, Cherie Curry, who was the lead singer for the Runaways, and I told her the story. And I said, Cherie, I just realized something. She said, what? I said that by me doing what I did, I gave permission to women all over the world to be different. And there was a silence. And then she went, and you just got that? But isn't that refreshing?
It must have been a wonderful feeling as well to know you inspired so many wonderful women to come in the
Yeah.
industry.
I do accept it now because now I realize it, but that was when I first realized that at 69, you got to be kidding. I never thought about it. Never thought of myself as a groundbreaking woman musician. I was just a musician doing what I do.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wonderful. Now, I appreciate some of the stuff I've asked you. You may have been asked once or twice in the past, but I reckon what I've got here, this next question, is maybe something you've not spoken about, maybe ever, or certainly for a long time. You were part of a musical supergroup for a very short time called The Assistants, alongside Cheryl Baker from Bucks Fizz, Junior, the R&B star Dave Edmunds, big name in the 70s, and the great B.A. Robertson as well, whose music I love. You don't hear much of B.A. Robertson these days, but
Yeah.
wonderful. The theme you done that was most famous, the song you done that was most famous was the theme for Saturday Superstore. I mean, what can you tell us about that, which is obviously very different to your regular studio music and the band itself, The Assistants? I want to hear all about this.
That was actually fun. It's always fun when you get a bunch of people in the business together. They haven't worked together before. I played bass. I just remember having a laugh. We were laughing, laughing, laughing. There's a great video for that available if you go on YouTube. And that was a good show. That was Mike Reed, wasn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah. I remember recording that. It was a case of, always when you do things with other musicians, leave your ego at the door.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah,
Just have fun.
that's great.
Just have fun. And it's finding your way musically with each other because you haven't played together before. So you got to find your way in and be listening. And, Dave Evans, great guitar player. So you have to be aware of the other people, give them space to be who they are. Let them give you space to be who you are. Keep your identity, but be part of the group.
Did that go on for long? Was it that big theme you done for Saturday Superstore and that was it? That was your little project? Or was this something that could have gone further?
No, I think it was just for that. It was just brought together for that.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have gone on forever. No. I mean, I did do an album with Andy Scott and Don Powell called Quatro Scott and Powell.
Of
So we
course.
have worked together, and it got to 16 in Australia. Um, and like I said, I've got Alice on my next album. Of course, in 2023, I had the Face to Face album out with KT, the duet album that charted everywhere. Yeah, I do, and I'm trying to find one more person to be on this album with me because I want two duets on it.
Who are you looking for? Who's your
I'm not.
top? Who's number
I'm,
one? If you could have
I
anyone
don't
in the
know.
world.
Oh God, well, they're all gone. I would like. I actually have Bob Seger as a name. Jack White. I would like. Hmm, Rod Stewart.
Oh, that would be good. Suzi Quatro and Rod Stewart together. He's Essex as well, isn't he? Just
I
up the
know.
road from you.
Yeah,
Just
I
up
say,
the
come
road.
on, come over.
Wonderful. We will get back to some of the new music very shortly. Let's jump over though to the world of screen, the world of TV. You perhaps most famously, in terms of your TV career, appeared on Happy Days. Incredible. One of the biggest shows, not just of the time, but now ever for that
Ever,
generation. Yeah.
ever. It's in the TV Hall of Fame. I was in there for 3 seasons. I made good friends. I'm very good friends with Henry still. Very good friends with Ron. We email all the time, and Donnie and Anson. So good friends. It was an honor to be in that show. It really was. That was my first acting job.
That's your first one.
Yeah, and I actually asked Ronnie one time we were speaking, and I said, "Tell me now, I want to know the truth." I said, "Did I ever seem to you like a new actress?" He said, "Nope, nope, you were just natural." And I said, "Did I seem like I was new to the show?" And he said, "No, that's the strangest thing. It's like you were always there."
It's brilliant. It goes back to what you were just saying about these artists that you've worked with on the albums. Sometimes you just have a special connection with people, and you
Yes.
work together better if that's the case.
Yeah, you do. You do. Like I said, I'm accessible, and I remember being at the first script reading for Happy Days, and I wondered if some of them were going, she comes over with all her hits and she's not even an actress. I wondered if that might be in their minds. So
Sure.
I actually said to everybody, I'd like to say something at this first script meeting. I said, I know you all know my history and I've had a lot of hits and da 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 da. I said, now this is new to me. Okay. I've never acted before. I'm not going to pretend I have. So I would appreciate any help any of you can give me. Job done. And
There
they
you
did
go.
help. And they did help. I got tips from Ronnie. I got tips from Henry. They were so helpful. Thank goodness. You know?
So it wasn't too much of a jump then, going from the music industry to the TV. You kind of
No.
naturally leapt into that
Yeah.
role.
I use the same instinct no matter what I do in the arts. It comes from internal. I'm an artiste. I am an artiste.
Absolutely. Super, super. And you say you're still in touch with some of the guys now. I mean,
Yeah.
that's incredible.
In
They're
fact,
overseas.
we haven't talked about it yet, but Henry gave me a quote for Grave Undertakings, and Ronnie gave me a quote for Grave Undertakings, tombstone quotes. So
Okay.
they're both in there.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, we will get back to the book as well very soon, which is next up actually, because I want to say it's not just music and TV you've had your own talk show, you've been on the West End, you've presented on national radio, and as we alluded to there, you've written on a number of occasions as well, which I believe started off with your autobiography. That was your first bit of writing.
It
What was
was.
that like, going back over your career and your childhood days as well, and reflecting on everything that's happened?
Oh, I enjoyed so much writing that autobiography. Unzipped, did very, very well around the world. It was I'd started it years before, and then I had like that much done, put it away, just left it. And then I went back to it again. And I was wondering, what's blocking me? What's blocking me telling my story? And then I came up with has to be written in two people because I'm a Gemini. So there has to be little Susie from Detroit and Suzi Quatro. And they both have equal say in the book. And once I came up with that format, the book flew. It just flew because they are two different people. They are.
I
Little
see.
Susie from Detroit and Suzi Quatro. Then I wrote my first novel called The Hurricane.
Hmm.
Then I wrote two poetry books, Through My Eyes, Through My Heart. Then I wrote a thought book by COVID called Through My Thoughts. Then I wrote Through My Words, which is a lyric book. And my second novel, this one here that just came out, Grave Undertakings. It's my seventh book. And I've just finished my third poetry book, which will be my eighth book. So, yeah, I'm an
Wow.
artist. Yeah, I know.
Almost as many books as you've got albums now.
Yeah, yeah.
It's great. So you must enjoy writing then, be that poetry or a novel or writing about your experiences. Is there a different expression when you're putting it down into words, into a novel, into poetry, than if you were putting it into a song? Because, you know, when you're singing or you're writing a song, that's a different way of expressing your emotions. What's the difference between the two for you?
Well, I have actually in my two poetry books, there's three or four examples in both of them of poems that became songs. And something I thought was going to be a song just didn't fit into a song, became a poem. So, if a lot of times when I'm writing, maybe I'm looking for inspiration or something, and I will go through my poetry and I'll find a line or a lyric or this, and it'll turn into a song. It'll be both. You have both. Um, it's the meter changes when you're writing it for a song. It's just a different flow of words. My poetry is something different again. When I read it back, I can't believe I've written it because I don't hear myself talking that way, but obviously I do when I'm writing a poem. And when you're writing a novel, that's a different thing. Then you have to get involved in the characters and get to know them, let them tell their own story. You actually have to get lost in the characters for it to make sense. You get lost in it.
Absolutely. So tell us about this new novel then, which is out now. Tell us all about it. What can we expect if we pick up a copy? Grave Undertakings, it's called. What's it all about?
It started as I was a child that I had a fascination with graveyards. Always have done. And I know a lot of other people do as well. It's so great to go into an old graveyard and look at the tombstones and read the inscriptions. And I do it all the time. Carried this with me all the way through my life. In my 20s, I'm in England, and I came up with the title Grave Undertakings. And I thought, wow, that's a great title. Oh my God, I can start collecting tombstone quotes from all my famous friends, which is what I did for 35 years.
Wow.
35 years. Some of them that gave me quotes aren't even with us anymore. So then that's what I thought the book was going to be, Grave Undertakings. I'm putting it together. I just went, wait a minute. Wait a minute. This is a novel. This is a novel waiting to be written. This is a novel. Okay, what can it be about? All righty. For the quotes at the end to make sense, it's got to be about life, got to be psychological. So I came up with six students meeting up for a psychological tutorial with an Austrian professor, and you go through their lives. Their bad parts, their good parts, their triggers, their childhood damage, and there's 10 lessons, and each lesson has a different theme. And then it has an ending. Obviously, I don't want to give it away. And then the payoff is all these tombstone quotes. So I am a psychologically minded person anyway. I'm a curious person anyway. I love finding out how the mind works. I love finding out what makes you tick. I dig, I dig, I dig, I dig. So this gave me a wonderful canvas to paint the way I think into a novel. So you get a lot of me in here. And I fell in love with the characters. I really did. And once I'd named the six students, that's the magic. It's the same as when you're writing a song. When you get a title, you got the song. Once I named the students, I had the stories.
I see. I see. And you have this connection to the characters as well, is it? I know a lot of the time when authors are writing their books, they have, so if it was six characters, for example, they have six different versions of themselves or six parts of themselves. Is that what it's like for you? Are they six different
Yeah,
Suzi Quatros?
they all are different people and they all have different stories to tell. But of course, you put your own self in there. You have to, even when you're acting a role, you've got to become it. So each person that I was writing about, when I'm telling the story, I became that person, and I tried to experience what I thought their character would experience, what character I've given them, and you do run away with it. I even to the point where when I took delivery of my book to approve it, I thought, okay, let's just test yourself here. I'm not the writer. I'm now a reader. So I sat down and read it cover to cover. And I found myself actually going, I wonder what happens next. I go, Suzi, what's the matter with you? But I had divorced myself from writing it. And many times I stopped and I thought, did I really write that? So it means that, yes, indeed, you get lost in the creation, as you should, as you should.
Definitely.
It comes from up here somewhere, and you just A lot of times I asked Richard, my son, I said, do you ever write something like it and I put it down and they get up in the morning and go, oh my God, he said all the time. So you actually get lost in it, you know? It means it's magical when that happens. You can't even remember writing it.
That's great. It might be a format that's never been done. I'm not sure if I've heard of a novel like this at all in any way. Is this, have you come up with something brand new here?
I think so.
I reckon so.
I think I have. And it started with me being a graveyard dweller.
There you go. There you go. So 62 years later, you're still paving the way in whichever industry it is you're working in. Incredible. Incredible.
It's all the big ball of wax, which is called I'm a creator, I'm a communicator, and I'm an entertainer. Those are the three words that describe me the best, I think.
Super. That's so good. And as well as the book, which I should say available from all respectable bookstores and available online as well. You are also heading out on tour. You're touring Europe or the world in a couple of weeks' time. You're off on the road
All
then.
over, oh, not nonstop. My feet don't touch the ground. I'm in October, I'm in Australia for my 41st tour of Australia. I can't even think about it. All those miles I've flown. And then next year, the tickets are available just now. I'm doing 10 dates in the UK in April, big ones. So everybody should come and see me.
Absolutely. What can we expect? The big hits from the 70s, some of the new stuff, gems that maybe we've not heard before. What's it going to be?
I do a 2 hour show with an interval. So you get everything. I take you on the musical journey through my life. There's a little bit of talking, there's some screens, there's some clips. I play a song at the piano, I play a song at the drums. You get entertained.
Good. Good. An extract from your poetry, perhaps, as well, halfway
Oh,
through.
I would love to read I would love to read a poem. I might do that. That's a good idea.
There you go. There you go.
Good boy.
Thank you very much. That's also as with the book, you can get your tickets online and all that from all respectable sites. Suzi, you must be looking forward to being back on the road.
I love it. I love what I do. I never get tired of performing. Never. I don't think I ever will.
Do you still have the special connection with the fans, be that fans who've been listening since Can the Can first came out and some of the younger fans coming along to the shows as well?
I'm very hands-on. I'm very on the social media. I relate to everybody. There's a lot of youngsters out there, you know. Yeah, it's great. It's been a lifetime. We've all grown up together, and then the new ones are just welcome aboard.
Absolutely. That's so good. Great to see you back out on the road. Tickets available now online. You're on
Yes.
tour in 2026 here in the UK and around the world in a couple of weeks' time. The book available as well. Suzi, three words to sum up how life is at the moment with the book, the novel, and of course, your wonderful tour. What are you going with?
Exciting, satisfying, exhausting.
Yes, yes. Excellent. That's brilliant. Suzi, thank you so much for your time. It's
Thank
been
you
a
so
pleasure.
much. Thank you.